morning. I guess it's Monday, the 27th of July, 2015. I don't know, I'm just sitting here. I got a little bit of time on my hands before I take off and make my delivery up in Minnesota. And I don't know, the craziest thought popped in my head is I've been asked on a few different occasions why it is that I grew up an atheist. And I would tell people basically over and over the same thing, but for one reason or another, it just didn't seem to sink in. And my attitude then was that I didn't know how a black person could live in America and not be an atheist, because religion didn't seem to be black people's friend. Just didn't. I could kind of go on a history lesson and everything, but it just did not seem to work out for the good of black people. And I guess it can expand globally, but I haven't really done an in-depth study of the African diaspora around the globe and the hell that I'm sure that they faced in their respective histories of where they landed. It just made no sense to me. We did all this praying, and we were killed. Some of the most horrific things that happened to us as a people. Even here today, in this country called America, 2015, the rate at which we are executed by quote unquote law enforcement is mind-boggling. Because the reality is, this is nothing more than lynching of old, where a white person could, for whatever reason, take the life of a black person, and the law would protect them. In some cases, not even pursue prosecution of the murder, the outright murder of black people. So when you see these kind of things go unpunished, you question justice. You question this idea of, as long as people brutalize you, you just keep praying and you just keep holding on, everything's going to work out. That seems silly to me. Even today. Now, I don't take up the banner of atheist, of being an atheist nowadays, simply because I just didn't have the amount of faith it required to be an atheist. Now, that's not to say that I'm turning cartwheel over organized religion either, and that's a whole other subject. You can look at videos by what's this guy named Jeremiah Kamara, Dr. What is his name? I think brother, he's out of St. Louis, or maybe he really relocated down in Atlanta area. His last name is Higgins, I think. He's a pretty interesting fellow. I should know his name. I watched several of his videos. Can't think of the brother's name. Just, bald-headed brother, stocky built. Man, looked like an African warrior. His last name is Higgins, Dr. Ray Higgins, Brother Ray Higgins. Those brothers, man, have some really unique perspectives on religion, atheism, spirituality. There's a whole host of other people as well. Dr. Valentine, I like his views. He's not a fan of religion, but a really brilliant brother. And I hadn't seen all these guys' video and read their materials, but what little bit I've seen videos basically of these guys. I hadn't really read a lot about them. I read some things of Dr. Phil Valentine, but the other two mostly different videos. And there's a laundry list of other guys and everything, but it just for me. I just growing up as a kid, like my parents, they didn't grow up in church. They had problems with church. They thought church people were hypocritical, judgmental, and just thought it was just nothing more than a racket. And I guess my experience as a young guy, I think, sort of saw the same type things, and I just didn't really want to be any part of that. I remember I read one scripture that was saying that, you know, don't be, I guess, lukewarm. I mean, kind of decide which side of the fence you want to be on. I mean, just don't sort of be in the middle and roll with that. And I like that, quite frankly. And then what I found, and I guess my parents did too, in some religious circles, that, you know, they talk out of one side of their neck, well, they actually talk out of both sides of their neck. You know, they seem religious on the one hand, but then they'll rip you to shreds on the other. And it's kind of hard to, you know, to be affiliated with people like that. You know, I don't know, people pick up the banner of religion and they live worse than any sinner that you can believe. That sort of duality and, I guess, schizophrenia just was a big turnoff to me. People would say, well, you know, you can't judge, you know, man, you know, and miss heaven and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, if you were around a group of people that participated in a certain type of behavior, now you could talk all the stuff and say, well, I'm not like them, I'm just in it for me. You know, I don't know, I would have to look at you, you know, kind of silly, because a lot of times you're guilty by association. Okay, now I'm not down on these brothers and sisters, but like, say for example that you were hanging out with a group of gay people, and people would assume that you too are gay simply because they're your friends, you're hanging out with them. You may not want that stigma affixed to you, right or wrong. So I think I look at religion the same light. You know, that I don't really knock people's religion. It's just that, like, if you got all this sort of schizophrenia kind of going on, I don't really want to be affiliated with that. So, you know, I would much rather, you know, run with, you know, actually gangbangers. I mean, I'm no gangbanger, nothing like that, but what I know when I live in LA, what I know is, like, a lot of the guys that I met, man, at least they were consistent with their belief. You know, they thought something, they acted accordingly, and that was it. I mean, it was real simple and straightforward. And dealing with religious people, it was just all over the place. You know, on the one hand, it says, well, you know, we live a true life. We respect our wives and all this kind of stuff. And man, they had more girlfriends than any single guy. So that was just sort of mind-boggling to me. Even like right now, we live in a time. I think there's a couple places, I think in the South, maybe a few in the Alabama area, a few down in the Georgia, around the Atlanta area, where some preachers or some preacher helpers or whatever, they ran through a lot of the women in the church. And then come to find out, these guys was giving these ladies, you know, HIV or AIDS or whatever. They were sick, and they was passing on to these ladies, I guess maybe in part by spewing that religious, you know, doctrine that they twisted and perverted, and everything. So I guess, you know, you look at stuff like that, I guess like atheism seems a bit more attractive, quite frankly. And anyway, I cut it right there. I'm sort of drifting off and everything, so I get my thoughts together, maybe be a little bit more clear and concise.